Hi from Switzerland, everyone. I'm Axios National Security Editor Dave Lawler. I'm here with our communications strategist and writer, Eleanor Hawkins. Thanks for being with me here today.
Thank you.
So you've been to Davos before. Does anything feel different to you this week? The buzz in the air? How are the vibes different than in the past?
There's a lot more buzz this year than there was last year. I think the numbers also reflect that. I've seen that there are about 1,000 CEOs here, which is more than ever before. There also is a lot of buzz in the community that I write for, which is the comms and corporate affairs community. And I was talking to somebody who had been coming here for 26 years, and he said this was the first year that he really felt like a principal, not support staff. And I think that's really interesting because what it tells me is that media companies, foreign nations, other corporations, they want to have meetings with these corporate affairs professionals who see across the whole company, and maybe they don't get access to the CEO, but they've got access to somebody who is dealing with that intersection of policy and business, which is really what conversations at Davos are all about. So it's very buzzy. I think it's going to get even buzzier towards the second half of the week as the Trump administration officials start to roll out. There are already some here. And I think the conversation is going to shift a good bit. So that's the other thing that I'm paying a lot of attention to is what is the messaging that's being front-loaded? AKA, what is the messaging that these CEOs and these companies really want to get out there? Because I think it's going to be quieter on that front post-Trump speech. Nobody wants to comment on the politics that will inevitably come from that speech. And so you're seeing a lot of front-loading the conversation here around AI and whatever business priorities they have.
So more CEOs than ever, and many obituaries have been written for Davos over the years, and yet here we are. This does seem to be the biggest week they've ever had. For brands, for CEOs, what do you think keeps them coming back? Why are we all here still all these years after Davos started?
I think it's an opportunity to be part of the conversation. It's so hard to break through in this information landscape, right? So it's an opportunity to be part of the conversation. It's also an opportunity to be in front of the right audience. So many folks are really trying to tailor their message to specific audiences, whether it's policymakers globally or the US policymakers that are here. Maybe their competitors are here and they want to keep up. Maybe they are trying to form strategic partnerships. We're hearing a lot about that. But what's really interesting to me is if you kind of walk the promenade, it feels like CES. There's so many tech companies here. There are so many software companies here. And I think that is also a big shift, right? It used to just be, big banks, big financial institutions, a lot of consulting firms, and it's shifting a bit in that way.
Interesting. And what about for you personally? You've been here a couple of times. Do you have any tips and tricks? How do you try to make this week productive and stay sane amid all the craziness?
For me, I just know that I'm not going to sleep. I just accept that fact. So for me, it's all about staying hydrated, getting as much sleep as you can, but realizing it's not going to happen. And then also just finding time where you can to have the spontaneous conversations, because I feel like that's really, as a reporter, that's really where so much insight is gleaned. It's not necessarily at the big presentations or at the big onstage moments. It's what's happening in the room and in private conversations. And I have a lot to look toward as we move into coverage for 2026. A lot of great, interesting tips and tricks. So talk as much as you can, drink lots of water, and try to sleep.
I find that too. I try to say yes to at least a couple meetings that I never would have done in my day-to-day life in DC. I met somebody from the national labs today. That was a fascinating conversation. It's good to get out of our
Yeah, you never know where it's going to come from.
Exactly. Well, Eleanor, that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for joining me. And now I'm going to hand it over to Axios publisher Nick Johnston. Thanks, Eleanor.
Thank you.
Hello from Davos, everyone. I'm Nicholas Johnston, the publisher of Axios, here on the Promenade, where we've had a great week of conversations here with a lot of very interesting people. And, of course, a huge thanks to Qualcomm for hosting us this week, like every year, and making all of this possible. And so I'm very excited to welcome probably one of my favorite people to talk to in Davos each year. He's the CMO of Qualcomm, Don McGuire. Don, how are you?
I'm great.
What's your week been like? What are the key takeaways that have jumped out to you?
Well, the week's been super busy. It's been a great Davos. A little bit different this year with some of the attendees from especially a larger than usual U.S. Government delegation. So that's caused a lot of interesting challenges as well as opportunities and conversations. We're talking a lot, again, about AI, but the great thing about the conversation this year is it's that edge AI is finally part of the conversation because of devices that are now actually people are using in their lives that can deliver AI experiences really at the edge. And I think we both are kind of wearing one of those devices today. So that's been good. We've talked more about trust and authenticity and a lot of those kind of buzzwords. And my CMO sort of colleagues have been really engaged in those types of conversations. A lot of AI companies here showing up for the first time, right? Which is interesting. So those are some of the things I think are different this year.
Let's go a little deeper on cool devices. Astute viewers probably see we're both wearing the same kind of Meta smart glasses. I've been wearing them all week. Tell me how you've been using them on the promenade.
Yeah, I mean, this edition this year of my Meta Ray-Bans has been great. First of all, the transitions are amazing because I can go inside and outside, which is great. But I've been using these glasses for simple tasks like as I'm walking, my hands are full, my hands are in my pockets because it's cold. I just ask Meta, what time is it? What time is it? Am I on track? Am I late for my next meeting? Two, I've been recording video as I'm walking down the promenade, and just saying what I'm doing, where I'm going, where I'm headed, the beautiful weather that we've had. You've done some cool stuff with them as well.
My favorite thing, I did a hyperlapse of the promenade, and on my commute into the promenade each morning, I like to look at mountains and ask my glasses how tall they are and which mountain they are.
Which is amazing. So, I mean, the usefulness, right? Just in adding this as a tool for your Davos experience, it's just kind of proving out some of the things that we've talked about in the past.
Let's take a little bit more about Davos. Overused topics. What are you hearing a lot that is kind of making you scratch your chin a little bit?
Yeah, every year you've got the buzzwords, the thematics and the buzzwords. And one of those, I mentioned this, one of the words is authenticity. And it's funny because the context has been different depending on the conversation, the panel, the different place where it's showing up. And I find it like if I could put it into a fondue pot and like melt it and like turn it into something appetizing, I would do that because I don't think people really understand what they're saying sometimes when they talk about authenticity. If you're trying to be authentic, you're probably not authentic at all, right? So that's been interesting. A lot of buzzwords around that, and of course, a lot of AI buzzwords. But and then we've had an interesting conversation about windmills.
Let's spin this forward a little bit. What I love about the conversations that we've had over the last couple of years is they started to come true. In fact, that I'm now wearing AI glasses.
You and I are oracles
in Davos. So tell me what to look forward to next year. What's the next awesome thing coming down the pike?
Well, as you said, we've had like these experiences and these things that we've talked about coming true, and now we're both using these amazing glasses. I think next year, we might see humanoid robots walking up and down the promenade, maybe even addressing the Congress.
We'll bring a third chair next year. It'll be Don and his robot friend. Don?
Companion.
And wouldn't be Davos without talking to you, Don. Great to see you again. Thanks for being here. Huge thanks to Qualcomm. Stick around. We've got a lot more conversations coming up.